Alright, let's talk about some of the other features we can do using extrude. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the same triangle that we had in the last exercise just quickly. It's a good practice for upcoming exam. So we have a length of 5 here. Oops. Go ahead and try that one more time. Okay, now I'm going to smooth the edges with a fillet function, just as we did before. I believe the radius is 0.5 on each one of these. Okay, so here we have our smooth triangle again that we extruded last time. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish this sketch. Now what I want to do is I want to extrude this function, but now I want to use the offset feature, which is a little bit different feature than we used before. So let's click extrude and we'll select the curve that we're using. Then I want to do a little something different in this case. We can leave this distance the same, where it produces this thick shape. But now what I want to do is, instead of producing a solid shape, I want to produce something that is hollow in the center. So what I'm going to use is, you see we have this offset option here. I'm going to go ahead and use this offset option, and I'm going to select a two-sided offset option. So you see what that does is it creates an offset, which means it starts drawing the extruded part of this object at the surface or the boundary of our sketch, and it ends and stops drawing the surface of the sketch at the end of wherever we specify that distance to be. In this case, let's go ahead and specify our starting distance to be 0.5, and let's specify our ending distance to be 0.75. So you see here we have a object that has a given thickness and shape to our specified dimensions. Okay? So let me go ahead and click OK. So now you see we have the same extruded solid object, except now we have this empty slice in the middle, and again this is due to using the offset function. And you can play with different sizes of this. I mean, you could look at this extrude function and you can change it to go from 0. Let's say you wanted it to go from 0. The right is the surface of the object, and let's say you wanted it at 1.25. So you see now, when I select 0, it starts right at the surface of where I drew my sketch, and it ends at 1.25 millimeters from the end point there. Let's say now I wanted to do this extrude function again. Let me delete that. Let's say we have our shape once again. And in this case, what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to draw angles that go at a certain degree from the surface of this particular object. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select again my curve, or I'm going to select the extrude function, then I'm going to select my curve. So here's our shape that we've been seeing to now. And let's extrude it in this case from 0 to 1. So you see that it will change where it starts and where the object stops. Let's say in this case we don't want any offset, so let's leave the default, which is none. And then we'll click on the draft. Let's click on this draft button just to play with this particular feature. And for this draft function, I'm going to select set from start limit. And let me input a 20 angle degree. And you see what has happened is from the start, which is our sketch, it's created a 20-degree angle to the top of our extrude feature. So we have a little bit of an angled three-dimensional object here now. There are some other features that you can use with this extrude function. One of them is using what are called primitive features. Now, primitive features allow us to go to and insert things like a block. So if we want to insert a block, let's say we wanted to insert it and we wanted to make a 2 by 3 by 6 block, and we can when we select the block, we want to make sure that it says origin and edge lengths, and we can really just specify where we want this block to start. So let me go back a little bit slower. So what I've done, and let me back up here. Let me go ahead and start at this origin point again, and I'll pan to the center here. Let me select this view. This view may be better for you to illustrate this. So we can go to Insert, Design Feature, and then we can select Block. To select the origin, you see in the Specify Point option that comes up, we can click this point dialog, and it gives us the coordinate system to where we want this to start. And let's say I want this particular one to start at the near the origin, but I want it to start at an x coordinate of -3 for some reason, let's say. So you see now my point where it's going to start has moved to an x value of -3. And let's say I want to input the x, y, and z coordinates of this block, so it's going to be 2 units long, 3 units in the y direction, and 6 units in the z direction. Now I'm going to click OK. So you see now I've created this block that is on the side of the axis. Now let me go ahead and click another one that starts on the another axis. Let's see, let's go to, we can click another block that starts at another point, and we can specify that as starting let's say at 300 in this case. And we can specify the size of this to be the same as before. And you can see we've created a couple blocks, just some basic size shapes. You guys can also create a cylinder shape. So we can go to Design Feature, we can go to creating a cylinder, and we can specify where we want it. Let's say we want it to go into the positive z-axis direction, and we want it to have a diameter of 0.88 millimeters and a height of 2.5. So now you see we created also a cylinder shape. So these are just some tools that you can use to quickly create a shape if you need to. And then once we get into some more advanced features, we can see how we can use these shapes to create some really advanced and really cool looking parts that have some real engineering significance. I want to cover one last topic on this, and it's going to be the revolve feature. And then I'll ask that you do your in-class exercise, which is designing a pull cue. Let me go ahead and look at this on another plane. Okay. Now, I want to go ahead and use the sketcher in this case to go ahead and create a sketch that's given in tutorial 6.3. Let's go ahead and start. I think the length is 2 in this case for this sketch. the height of this line, and I'm going to go through and just input the different heights of each one of these different lines. Okay. This height is 1.5. Well, for time's sake, let me go ahead and just stop here. And what I want to leave you with really is just the design functions of extrude. And I'll go ahead and continue this in the third lecture, and the third lecture will be short, and then we'll go ahead and practice our other feature. Okay, so I'll see you in just a little while.